guys, I'm back again. So in this video you would have seen already that this is a bit of a catch up to everything that's happened so far to the Crown. So we've got the front air suspension all done, well not all finished, I still have like little things here and there to do with it. Got all that into place and that sort of thing. You would have seen also that the airbag cups are also made from a bag plate and galvanized pipe. So I'm sure that triggered a lot of people because I made bag plates out of galvanized pipe. This bit here. So the reason I did that was because I could not get this size pipe in black steel from any steel supplier that I went while I was on my holidays from work. So in the meantime I've been trying to track down the pipe, and finally I've got a hold of the black large diameter pipe, which is the same as this. So I finally got a bit. So those galvanized bag cups you've seen in the video, they are just temporary so I can keep progressing with the car, because sometimes you just got to work with what you can get your hands on at the time just to keep moving forwards. Otherwise this still wouldn't be done yet because it's taken me ages to get that piece of black pipe. So finally got it. So I will go into more depth on the full making of the bag cups and everything like that in a later video when I go to make them properly out of that. At the moment the galvanize is just sort of to test everything, make sure it all works, make sure that where the bags are sitting are all good, check the notch out, all the rest of it. So it's all working really well so far. So when I go to remake that, and I do apologise for the flare at the moment because my shed at a certain time of the day gets super glary because of the sun and that jazz. But anyway, so I will go over and show making of the bag cups properly, because also I'm using non-high tensile strength threaded rod, because again I didn't end up getting the high tensile threaded rod, but I also have that over in the corner now. So I have everything to make the bag cups properly and have them all locked in and welded up fully properly. So that's a good thing. So another video coming on the bag cups making, which will be interesting for those of you following along on the Crown aspect of things. Just interested to see how this is all going along. So also you would have seen my son came out, gave me a hand, we cleaned all the chassis down because I still had not cleaned the chassis whatsoever since I picked it up from out west at Chinchilla. So got the chassis all cleaned up, so now when I work on it I don't have dirt going everywhere, so that's a good thing. And my buddy Jacko came up and we got the Z notch into position. So really happy with the Z notch, it's come along really well. So at the moment it looks a bit haggard because we haven't done the side plates or the top plates. All we've done is basically got it into position and made some internal gusset plates. So those internal gusset plates just hold the frame from collapsing and stuff. And then on the outside will be a very large fish plate that will extend right up to the front, come right down, and I'm going to bring it right back to far further than most people would actually bring a plate for a Z notch. But that is because of this chassis and the way it's been made. I feel happier and safer with extending that fish plate right back as far as I can take it. So that's still yet to happen, and also make the top plates and everything and get all that Z notch to flow nicely. So that's where we're at with that. And you would have seen in the last video that I posted that the K-swap cannot fit, and you will notice that the motor is still in. So I am about to pull the motor out now. Pull the motor out, put that in the corner, put a blanket over it till someone buys it, and I'm going to get started on getting this body down onto this frame properly, so then I can work out putting the mounts back onto the frame and where everything has to go, check all my clearances for the body going down around the Z and what I have to do there. And also the front horns have also had to be dropped to match the Z notch, so I have to start planning all that out. So next step is to get this body down onto that frame properly where it needs to sit and work it out from there. I also have to pull the steering column out and remove the column plate from around it so I can raise the steering up, because obviously when you raise the front end up, your steering moves also. So all that has to be moved properly as well. At the moment this column is only temporary because I will be getting a proper collapsible steering column for this car, because as far as I'm aware, this steering column is not a collapsible steering column because it's a 1964. The car doesn't even have seat belts, which I have to put in when I get to that point. But I will be getting a proper collapsible ADR approved steering column for this car to match up to the steering box in the car, which is pretty straightforward procedure. I've done a couple in the past. They're a little bit of a headache here and there, but pretty basic all round. Also, I will be getting rid of that because it also has the manual column shift into that column, and I don't want to run any of that sort of thing. So completely changing the column meets the engineering standards I need to meet, and also saves me a lot of hassle with trying to remove all the manual gear shifter and everything from that column. So 2 positives, 2 wins. So that's a later date thing though. For now we're just going to modify what I've got just to get the steering working so I can move the car around and stuff like that. So that's got to be done, and from that point we'll see where we get to. So what we'll do now, pull the motor out, start working on getting this body down, and then we will revisit where I'm at with the car. So let's get busy, let's do some work. Alright guys, so we got the body mounts unpicked from the crown. They are off the firewall over here, all unpicked. Bit of a mission to get out because they were triple panelled in there, so I did have to cut a couple of sections, which is okay because essentially with what I'm seeing now, these wheel tubs are going to have to be pretty well fully changed to accept how low this thing's going to end up going. So I actually have the body down now almost where it needs to be. I still have another 20 mil off this thing laying sill. So when we flip this around, we're getting right down now. So that blue block is essentially ground height. The chassis also has the 100 mil blocks, and that's just purely because the hoist has the floor plate there, which I have to step it up off. But now we're getting very close to where we need to be with the car and the body and all that jazz. But I have since sold the motor within doing the body mounts and stuff. The next day I actually had a guy message me, pay for it, and come take the K-Series away. So the K-Series is all gone now. And that was leading me to another problem. I could have bought, with the money I got, a full complete car or cars, pending there's enough of the engine I want to try and run in here kicking around. But at the moment, the biggest problem is that's a waste of funds at the moment, because I've since realised, in all my excitement about getting this thing down on the ground, that I can't do the front body mounts because the car's actually sitting on a big angle, because the rear end is actually holding it all up. So because the rear end's holding all of this up, it's also sitting on 100 mil blocks and everything like that. So essentially the frame's sitting straight on the ground. But because the rear end is sitting up so much, I can't get the body mounts level, because if I put the body mounts in the front now with the nose down, and then I go to drop them on the rear, it's going to put all the body mount bolts under a lot of stress when the rear of the body starts to come down on the new modified body mounts, and when I move all the mounts and stuff for the notch. So another big problem, but that's building custom cars. You're going to run into these things. It is what it is. But the plan now is to forget the motor completely. Now this is really going to throw a spanner in the works for my plans to get this to Halfway Havoc. I really don't know if me and my friends are going to be able to pull this off or not, but we're going to work like we can, because if we work like we can get this there, then we're going to make some serious progress in the meantime, which is really awesome. So again, Halfway Havoc isn't some sort of crazy goal. It's a motivator to try and get me to do things to this car, to get this car moving and worked on. And that's all it is, really. Personal motivator. Good thing is, forget the engine completely for now. So we're not going to bother at all with what motor's going in that thing, because at the end of the day, I need to fully do this chassis now. So now we're in it, right into getting this chassis laying out, and then getting the body on and getting this car on the ground. So motor is a complete waste of funds at the moment, because at the end of the day, it can't run and drive unless the chassis is done. So lots and lots of chassis work to come on this. And that being said, I had to make an investment to be able to do this more efficiently, because doing it on the floor here with everything I've got going on with the Valiant over here and stuff like that, once I cut things, I can't move it. It's stuck. So I had to make a bit of an investment, which we'll have a look at in a second. It's very glary outside at the moment at this time of day, so I've got the roller door down because you can't see a thing. So body mounts are off, all that sort of jazz. Car's sitting down, it's looking really good. Going to be doing the full chassis, and what we're about to do is I will open the garage door now into all of the glare, as you can see, coming out of here. And I have purchased a full chassis table. So now I've got a full chassis table. It's worked. I bought this off a friend who does mini trucks and stuff like that. This thing's seen a few trucks built. So the good thing is it'll perfectly do exactly what I want it to with the crown. It's wide enough and everything that I can actually get the whole frame plus the wheels and everything onto that bench perfectly fine. The only problem is in the bottom of the legs of the frame has the adjuster legs in the bottom of that frame of those legs. So I'm going to cut those off and I'm going to change them with all of these caster wheels that I picked up off Amazon. I have an entire box of these. I'm actually really enjoying Amazon at the moment because the delivery is insane. They deliver on weekends. So I've got the caster wheels, I've got 5mm plate here which I'm going to cut and make new feet for the bottom of that table. So the legs are a little bit skew-whiff, but that's fine. I do plan on bracing all the legs up and everything, but the goal at the moment is to get that chassis onto that table on some caster wheels so I can move it all around and start working on it. Because all the top table's all strong and everything like that, so I can actually get that on there. And then I just got to sort out all my new adjuster feet and everything like that, which I have a plan for. I just have to get some materials for that. And I also have a body dolly for the crown body. So you'll see that soon, because I'm going to hook in, get that all sorted, get the body on that, and then get this crown body out of the shed and packed away nicely into my house garage so it's out of the way, so then we can full focus on the chassis. So the exciting part of this is we're not sure yet if we're going to Z the rear frame, because it actually does look easier, or I have a Mex's Garage notch kit sitting there, and I also have the Hilux diff sitting there, so we are good to go. Now I am missing a 4-link. I haven't bought that yet, and I'm not going to race out and buy a 4-link till we get the frame notched and start working out what room we have and what kind of link we're going to run. I would really like to run a triangulated 4-link in this just for the simplicity of it, but there's a few things that are leading me to a parallel with a Watts link in this car. But at the end of the day, I've got to go piece by piece, because just running out and buying stuff is going to lead me to wasting money and slowing the progress down. So first things first, get that frame notched, get the Hilux diff under it and into position where it needs to go, and then work out on the chassis where all my seating area is and how much it's going to affect the rear seating area, and what I have to do as to what I can do with that 4-link in the rear of it. So ditching all of the original factory 3-link, upgrading to a 4-link, bags, notch, Hilux diff. The rear end's going to be pretty solid in this thing, and I'm very excited for what's to come. So right now, let's hook in, get this chassis table rolling, get the body off the crown, get it onto the body dolly, get it out of here, get this shed sorted, get everything into position so we can start doing some serious work on some stuff. So let's get busy and do the things. So that's another video all done, and the crown chassis is now on the table. I still have to make the adjuster feet for the table, but now I have it on the caster wheels, able to move the frame and the table around. So move the chassis and the table around, which is good. It's all looking pretty good up there. So I can start planning some stuff out. And the first thing that'll have to be done is that all of this has to be removed, all the diff out, all the rest of it, and see where we're at with the Hilux diff, which I have just down here. So suss out the Hilux diff onto the table with the frame. So I'm actually going to take the chassis back off the frame, get all the rear end unbolted, cut out what I need to cut out, body mounts, that sort of thing, because it's all going to change up the rear end with that, and then work out whether or not I use the Mex's Garage notch kit or if I just Z'd the original frame, because I don't really have to go up a lot according to the crown diff, but depending on how all the Hilux diff sits and everything like that, and what forelink we decide to use on this is going to determine a lot of things in the rear. But first things first, I have to get the crown stuff out and work out exactly what that Hilux diff is going to do to this frame. So the Hilux diff is also a bit shorter than what the crown diff is as well, so there's also that, and I have to make sure all my wheels and everything still fit with the Hilux diff. So it's a RN90 Hilux diff I have, so a bit shorter than the crown, which is good. Might be able to get a bit of dish on those wheels eventually, one day, maybe. But for now, big things happening, lots of work to do, and this thing is going to really start unfolding. So good to see. The crown body is actually sitting in my house garage now, so that's all put away on the chassis trolley, the body trolley that I've made up. So that's all sorted, got that around to the house garage, so that won't come back in till the frame's ready to start putting all the body mounts into place and stuff like that. So, and we start test fitting everything and start working out what needs to be cut, what needs to not be cut. So in the meantime, I will get everything pulled out of this, get this adjuster feet made for the table so I can adjust it and set it level, get the chassis all on square on the table, and then it's going to swap sides with the Valiant, and the Valiant's going to come over this side onto the hoist, and then I'll have a nice big clear floor space over there with the crown chassis to start really working some stuff out. So thanks for watching, guys. Things have really escalated a lot, and the next video should be on getting all the rear end pulled apart, getting the chassis table all finished off, and starting to plan out what's going to happen with this thing. So thanks for watching. Keep sticking around because there's lots coming, lots to be done. So I'll catch you on the next one.